Good morning, everyone. It's Antoinette Irizarry-Graves with another episode about faith, freedom, and finances. I wouldn't say I am completely back yet, but I will record videos and audios whenever God allows me the time and space to record and share. Today's episode is about giving it a financial rest. It was recorded before the global pandemic of COVID-19, but it could still be used for, during, and maneuvering through our new normal. If you didn't know, my husband and I are proud parents of a 9-month-old baby boy named AJ. And because he's here, he's actually the main reason why God mandated my husband and I to give it a financial rest. When we found out we were pregnant back in January 2019, my husband and I reviewed our finances and margins and decided to increase our incomes. My husband took on multiple jobs, and I worked every week for 6 to 7 days straight until Labor Day weekend. Yes, it was almost 8.5 to 9 months straight. At 36 weeks, I worked 6 to 7 days a week. My husband and I were exhausted, but we needed the extra funds to help cover us during and after parental leave. I remember God telling me in August 2019 to rest. Don't work another weekend again. And I haven't since September 2019, 3 weeks before our son was born. Now, my silly self believed once I returned from maternity leave that I could go back to working 6 to 7 days a week, but I felt God's grace leaving me. I felt the leave before back in September, and I felt it again in January 2020 when God told me to stop working every weekend. I was depleted, so I've decided to change my work schedule and only work every other Saturday as mandated by my employer and work no Sundays. My body, mind, and soul felt cared for and rejuvenated after working only 5 days a week sometimes. My body appreciated me, placing my body and mind first before money. I decided to live out this season, this lifestyle of a financial rest. Has my checks been lower than before? Absolutely. But God has provided the increase to support my home financially where we didn't need anything. I've also seen increase in family time with my son and husband, increased care for my home, increased study time for schoolwork, increased rest to sleep in on Saturdays, increased time to cook meals, increased time to invest in friendships, increase in all the areas of my life where it was placed on hold from working 6 to 7 days a week. I can't tell you now how much I feel freer, more in control, more relaxed, more rejuvenated, more refreshed, and more realigned. I am. Because I made the crucial decision to trust God in this season of a financial rest. I trusted God with my obedience, and God showed up in the outcome. But here's the caveat. I had to look for God and the harvest in other areas in my life than just finances and at my job. What if I told you the harvest wouldn't come from the same place you have been sowing? For Ecclesiastes 11:6 reads, "In the morning sow your seed, and at evening withhold not your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, this or that, or whether both alike will be good." But if all your planting and sowing is at work, how will you know the other areas of your life can grow well too? It's very possible to have a thriving and fruitful single life, married life, sex life, body and health, children, home, business, ministry, friendships, and everything else that's connected to you. But you must sow, plant, and water in all those areas and not just at work. We have way too many quote unquote successful people and leaders at work, but they're missing in action at home. How much more can the next generation can take of present and active parents? That's another podcast. But the point is, be attentive in all areas of your life and be keen and ready to pivot when seasons change. For Proverbs 27 and 23 state, be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds. Caring for your body, mind, soul, children, friends, spouses, finances, businesses are all part of your herds and flocks. Do you know its condition? Do you know the condition of your spiritual life as well? Had I continued working 6 to 7 days a week in September, and when I came back in January 2020, while God's hand have left me, I would have been disobedient because I was so focused on my living situation of this new baby arriving than focusing on God's instructions. I would have been placing more trust in my ability to do in the season than trust what God can and will do had I just obeyed. I would have been out of place. I would have been out of God's hands, provision, care, instruction, protection, and most importantly, God's presence. That's why the songwriter Marvin Sapp says, as long as I'm in his hands. That's enough right there. So ladies and gentlemen, do you want to remain during these times in God's hands or pursue your own plans and thoughts because you're worried about your temporary season? This temporary season doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It absolutely hurts when I see more taxes and less net coming out of my check. But I'm remaining in his instructions. I'm secured. I'm progressing. I'm increasing in other areas than I can count. I'm still remaining obedient to God's instructions to give a financial rest over outcome. If God challenged you to do the same thing, to live out this season or this lifestyle of financial rest, will you do it over outcome and impact? Trust in God during this season and forevermore. God will blow your mind and exceed your expectations every single time. So I pray right now that if God is challenging you to lay it down, do it. Trust God in obedience, and God will show up in the outcome. Submit to it. Live out this season and this lifestyle of a financial rest. Your body and your mind and everyone attached to you will feel the peace because you decided to obey and trust God in your obedience. I love you all. Until next time, amen.